All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive. Today we're tackling McDonald's.
McDonald's, huh?
Yeah. We'll see how they went from a small hot dog stand to a massive global empire. We've got tons of research here.
Yeah, there's a lot to say for sure.
I bet. But we have to start at the beginning with the McDonald brothers.
Dick and Mac, right?
Exactly. They're like the original burger guys, right?
Oh, absolutely. Their story begins way back in 1937 with this little hot dog stand. It was called the Airdrome, out near an airport in Monrovia, California. Not quite the Golden Arches we know today.
I can imagine. So how did they get from hot dogs to burgers?
Well, they moved to San Bernardino a few years later in 1940
Okay.
and opened McDonald's Bar B.
Are you?
Yeah. But here's the thing, it was the burgers and fries that really took off, not the barbecue.
Really?
Yeah. So they were smart and realized that's what people want.
Makes sense.
So they decided to simplify the menu and just focus on what was working.
Wow. So that's how the classic McDonald's menu was born. Burgers, fries, shakes.
That's it. But there's more to the story.
Oh, I bet. What else did they do?
So in 1948, they did something really bold. They actually closed the restaurant down
They closed it. Why?
to completely redo it. They were about to launch this thing they called the Speedy Service System.
Speedy service system. Okay, now I'm intrigued. What was that?
Picture a restaurant with no wait staff.
No wait staff. How would that even work?
That's exactly what they did. No servers, no taking orders at the table, just pure speed and efficiency.
That's crazy.
They streamlined everything. The menu, the cooking process, like an assembly line for food.
That must have blown people's minds back then. Was it an instant success?
I mean, yeah, any big change has its bumps at the beginning,
Right.
but overall it was huge. This self-service thing made it so fast and so affordable
Yeah.
that it attracted families and workers.
Especially on a budget, yeah.
And that's actually what caught the eye of this milkshake machine salesman named Ray Kroc.
Oh, Ray Kroc. Now we're talking. He's the one who really turned McDonald's into what it is today, right?
Yeah. Kroc, he saw something special in that little restaurant in San Bernardino. The efficiency, the lines of customers, he was blown away. So he approached the McDonald brothers with this idea. Franchising.
So basically taking their idea and spreading it across the country.
Exactly. Nationwide, even bigger. He had this big vision.
I bet the brothers were ecstatic to see their idea take off like that.
Well, it's actually a little more complicated than that.
Oh.
The McDonald brothers, you see, they were content with their success. But Kroc's grand vision, they weren't so sure.
Really?
They had some disagreements, and by 1961, Kroc bought them out completely.
Bought him out. For how much?
$2.7 million.
Wow. So Kroc was in control, but I guess there was some hurt feeling there too.
Absolutely, yeah. It marked the beginning of the McDonald's Corporation as we know it, with Kroc at the helm, ready to take it global.
Okay, so Kroc's in charge. McDonald's is about to explode. This is when they start becoming a real cultural icon, right?
You got it. And this is when the Golden Arches first appear.
Those arches, you see them everywhere. Were those Kroc's idea?
Well, the actual design was by this architect, Stanley Meston, back in 1962.
Okay.
But Kroc understood their power. He had this vision, of those arches shining bright across every town and, well, across the globe. A symbol of consistency, quality, that familiar McDonald's experience anywhere you went.
That makes sense. Speaking of familiar, wasn't this era also when another McDonald's icon was born?
You talk about the Big Mac.
The Big Mac, exactly.
Oh, yeah. In 1967, this franchisee, Jim Delgatti, came up with it. Though, believe it or not, they almost went with names like the Aristocrat and the Blue Ribbon Burger.
The Aristocrat. Blue Ribbon Burger? I don't know, those just don't have the same ring to them. But I guess Big Mac just stuck. And then there's another game changer, the Happy Meal.
Oh, the Happy Meal. Launched in 1979. Huge hit with kids. Instant classic.
For sure. Genius to put a toy with a meal. It's like McDonald's became part of childhood memories, family outings.
Exactly. But Kroc's ambitions didn't stop there. He had his sight set beyond the U.S.
This is when the real global expansion began. Got it.
First, they ventured out to Canada and Puerto Rico in 1967.
Okay.
But that was just the beginning.
So like testing the waters before diving into the global market.
Exactly. Pretty soon they were opening up in Japan, Germany, Australia, all over the world.
Wow.
Really becoming a symbol of American culture abroad.
I can imagine that wasn't always smooth sailing though, right? Bringing American fast food to countries with their own rich culinary traditions.
Oh, definitely. Some people saw it as like homogenizing culture, a threat to local cuisines. Others argued it brought jobs, economic opportunity, exposure to different tastes. It really sparked this whole debate about globalization.
It's amazing how something like a burger joint can become a symbol for all that.
Right. It's not just food,
It's culture.
it's ideas. And McDonald's had to navigate that.
How did they do that? I mean, how did they respond to that kind of criticism?
Well, they had to adapt. Remember how they started incorporating local flavors? The McSpicy paneer in India or the McFeast in South Africa?
Oh, yeah. So they were trying to fit in, not just take over.
Exactly. It was a way of being sensitive to the cultures they were entering, not just steamrolling over them.
It's a balancing act for sure.
For sure.
Well, that brings us to the end of McDonald's early years, their rise to international fame. It's incredible how much they achieved in such a short time.
It really is. It shows their vision, their adaptability, and let's be honest, a little bit of luck never hurts.
And a whole lot of burgers.
Yeah.
But of course, the story doesn't end there. It gets even more interesting as we dive into the later years.
Absolutely. New challenges, new tastes, and innovations you might not even know about.
Sounds like we've got a lot more to uncover.
Oh, we've only just begun.
All right, so we've seen how McDonald's went from that one hot dog stand to this global fast food empire. But it's more than just, burgers and fries.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's about how they fit into culture, even how they changed it.
Yeah, like how they went from being this symbol of America to trying to blend in globally.
Exactly. It's fascinating.
We talked about globalization a bit earlier, but what about how we eat? Like, did McDonald's really create this whole fast food world we live in now?
Well, they were definitely a big part of it. I mean, before McDonald's, grabbing a quick cheap meal on the go, that wasn't really a thing.
You're right.
And they made it so easy and affordable. And let's face it, pretty tasty too. It changed how we think about food, how we eat it.
Yeah, it's true. It made eating out less of a special occasion and more of an everyday thing. But that convenience comes with the downside, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
As McDonald's grew, so did concerns about nutrition and processed food.
Right.
They became a target for people worried about the health effects of fast food,
Right.
especially for kids.
It's interesting, though. They were praised and criticized for the same thing, being affordable and convenient. How did they handle that kind of pressure?
Well, they couldn't just ignore it. They had to change with the times,
Yeah.
Remember they started offering salads and fruit? Healthier choices?
Oh, right. So they were trying to have it both ways.
I think so. I mean, there was pressure from health experts, and they wanted to appeal to more customers.
I guess so.
But it was a big change for them. They were acknowledging that they needed to adapt.
It's funny how a company known for burgers and fries had to make such a shift. It shows they could adapt. But how about their success overall? What's their secret?
Well, I think a big part of it is their focus on efficiency and consistency.
Yeah.
They've got it down to a science, making sure every McDonald's is the same, from the food to the service.
Yeah, like you can walk into a McDonald's anywhere in the world and know what to expect.
Exactly. It's that familiarity, that predictability that people like.
It's like comfort food in a way. But you can't forget their marketing, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're geniuses at creating a brand that connects with people of all ages, backgrounds, cultures, you name it.
The jingles, Ronald McDonald House, Happy Meal toys. It's more than just food. It's an experience.
You got it. Nostalgia, pop culture, even charity. It all builds this powerful image. But it's not just marketing. It's that they adapt to change, too.
Yeah, we've seen how they've handled globalization, health concerns, and just changing tastes in general. They're willing to try new things.
Right. That's super important in the fast food world. They're constantly changing things up but keeping their core values.
It's a tricky balance, but it hasn't always been smooth sailing, has it?
Of course not. They've had their share of criticism over the years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Labor practices, environmental impact, their role in, childhood obesity, real issues.
Yeah, no company is perfect, and they've definitely had their missteps. So how do you think they'll handle these issues moving forward? What's next for them?
Well, I think sustainability is going to be huge. People really care about the environment, and they'll expect McDonald's to do their part, reducing waste, using sustainable ingredients, lowering their carbon footprint, that kind of thing.
They've made some progress, but I agree there's a lot more they can do.
And don't forget the growing popularity of plant-based options.
Oh, right, the McPlant.
Exactly, that's a step in the right direction. But they'll need to keep innovating to appeal to people who are eating less meat.
So it sounds like McDonald's is at a crossroads, wouldn't you say?
I think so. They've got this incredible history, but the future is full of challenges and expectations are changing. It's really make or break time for them. Their choices now will determine if they stay an icon or become a relic of the past.
It really makes you wonder what the McDonald brothers would think if they could see their creation now.
From a hot dog stand to a global giant, it's remarkable.
Totally. But there's one more thing we haven't touched on yet. How McDonald's has become part of our culture beyond just the food.
You mean like the pop culture references, the art inspired by their imagery, even the studies on the McDonaldization of society, how a brand becomes part of our collective consciousness.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. It shows how powerful their marketing is, but it also says something about us,
Yeah.
Our need for convenience, familiarity, maybe even a sense of community.
It's funny, when you're traveling in a new place, sometimes seeing those golden arches can be kind of comforting, like a little piece of home.
I get that. It's about branding, how it makes us feel. But it also raises questions about, whether cultures are becoming too similar, too influenced by global companies.
It's a tough question for sure. On the one hand, it can connect people. On the other, it could lead to losing unique traditions.
Yeah. How do we balance the global and the local? How do we benefit from globalization but still keep cultural diversity?
That's a complex issue, but it's something McDonald's has been dealing with for a long time now.
Right. They're trying to keep their global brand, but also adjust to local tastes and customs. It's a work in progress.
Especially with all the new technologies and cultural changes happening. What do you think is next for them? Where do they go from here?
I think sustainability is key. Consumers want businesses to be eco-friendly, and McDonald's will have to step up their game.
Yeah, they've done some things, like recyclable packaging, but there's always room for improvement.
Absolutely. And they can't forget about plant-based options either. McPlant is a good start, but they'll need to keep innovating to keep up with changing tastes.
So McDonald's is at a crossroads. They have this amazing history, but the future is full of challenges.
It's true. The choices they make now will decide if they remain a cultural icon or fade away. It's a great example of how even the biggest companies have to adapt to survive.
It makes you think, what would the McDonald brothers think of all this? From a hot dog stand to this global phenomenon, it's really an incredible story.
It really is. It's the American dream, Hard work, innovation, taking risks. But it also reflects how complex things are. Globalization, consumerism, how our relationship with food is changing.
It's amazing how McDonald's has become such a huge part of our culture.
It really is.
Like a global language we all speak.
Yeah, you're right.
These symbols and experiences that cross borders, generations.
It's true. I think when a brand gets that big, that well-known, it becomes more than just, what they sell. It taps into something deeper.
Almost like a collective unconscious?
Yeah, exactly. Like a collective unconscious. And McDonald's, with their golden arches, their jingles, even all the controversy, they've definitely tapped into that. Speaking of controversy, we talked about the criticisms they faced.
Right.
What about their impact on health, the environment? How have they responded to all that?
That's a good question.
They've definitely made some changes. We talked about the healthier options.
Yeah, the salads.
Salads, the fruit.
Yeah.
And their push for more sustainability, like using recyclable packaging.
But I wonder, is that enough? Some people say those are just small changes, not a real commitment to doing better.
That's a valid point, and it's something consumers are paying attention to. People want companies to be transparent, to be accountable,
Right.
and McDonald's, like any big company, needs to show that they're listening.
Especially when it comes to the environment. We all know we need to be more sustainable, and McDonald's, they're everywhere, so they have a big responsibility.
Absolutely. They've got to address things like deforestation, with their supply chains. They need to reduce their carbon footprint, find better packaging options. They can't just ignore this stuff.
So they're really at a turning point, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah.
They could lead the way, create a fast food industry that's better for the planet, or they could get left behind.
It's true. Consumers, especially younger people, are making choices based on their values. They'll choose brands that align with what they believe in.
Yeah.
So McDonald's has to change if they want to stay relevant.
It makes you wonder, what will McDonald's be like in the future? Will they have more plant-based stuff? Will technology take over?
Those are both good possibilities for sure. The demand for plant-based food is just going to keep growing. And McDonald's, they're already trying things out, like that McPlant burger.
Right.
But they've got to stay ahead of the game.
And technology is already changing how we order, how we pay, even how we get our food. It'll only get more integrated into the whole experience.
Imagine ordering based on what you've liked before, or robots making your food. It might sound crazy, but it could happen.
That's both exciting and a bit scary to think about. But one thing's for sure, McDonald's has to embrace new ideas if they want to succeed in the future.
And being able to adapt, that's always been one of their strong points. They've faced tough times, criticism, and they've always reinvented themselves.
It's true.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do next.
Well, I think that wraps up our deep dive into the world of McDonald's. It's been quite a journey looking at their history, their impact, and what might be in store for them.
It really has. From a tiny hot dog stand to this global icon, it's a testament to, what you can achieve with some hard work, some creativity, and a really good burger and fries.
And it gives us a lot to think about, Our relationship with food, globalization, these brands that are everywhere in our lives.
That's right. So the next time you see those golden arches, just remember that there's a lot more to McDonald's than what you see. It's a story about all of us, what we want, and how the world's changing.
That's a great point. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of McDonald's. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into something new and thought-provoking. See you then!